balls.
47 testes from pet dogs. They found microplastic pollution in every single sample. So it's probably in everything. Even though that's a small sample, you got to think of like how much plastic is being used.
What's it even mean?
It's an endocrine disruptor. The problem is it's measurable decrease in testosterone with males, measurable decrease in fertility with women, a lot more miscarriages, and it's all correlates directly with microplastics. It directly with when you're microwaving food with saran wrap on it in a plastic container, and there's like little chips of plastic that come when you open up packages. And there was an estimate, and we were trying to figure out exactly whether or not it was accurate, but that every week you eat one credit card of plastic, which is insane.
Let's start off by understanding what microplastics and endocrine disruptors are, as Joe Rogan's talking about in this podcast. So, as I had discussed on a previous podcast, microplastics are toxins. They're very small in size. They're less than 5 millimeters in size. They're tiny particles, and they can be found anywhere in the food that you eat, in the air, in water that we drink, and even our soil. So they happen to be broken down from larger plastic particles, and they form in products like your cosmetics and synthetic clothing. Recent research published in Environmental Science and Technology found that humans ingest an estimated 52,000 microplastic particles annually, and we inhale about 74,000 microplastic particles, which is crazy to even think about. Endocrine disruptors are chemicals that interfere with the endocrine system, which regulates hormones. So they can actually block or mimic your hormones. They literally act like estrogen, testosterone, and androgen hormones. And what they do is, instead of the hormones binding on the receptors within the cells, they end up binding, which causes signaling and messaging issues within the biological system, which eventually lead to hormonal dysregulation and physical and mental health consequences. Endocrine disruptors can be found in plastics, so BPA in plastics, phthalates in personal care products, skincare products, in your pharmaceuticals, and pesticides in our food supply. According to the World Health Organization, endocrine disruptors are linked to developmental, reproductive, neurological, and immune effects in both humans and wildlife. Recent studies, including the one that Joe Rogan was talking about in his podcast, highlight the alarming presence of microplastics in human tissues, including testicles, leading to concerns about infertility and hormonal-related issues. For instance, research from the University of Newcastle in Australia has shown that microplastics can accumulate in human tissues, raising significant concerns about their long-term health impacts. Microplastics are not just an environmental issue, they significantly impact our health. When ingested or inhaled, these tiny particles can accumulate in our bodies, leading to inflammation and oxidative stress. A study published in Environmental Health Perspectives showed that microplastics can disturb or disrupt gut health, your immunity, impair nutrient and mineral absorption, and even crosses the blood-brain barrier, affecting cognitive function. One of the most concerning effects is their potential role in hormonal imbalances and infertility. Microplastics carry endocrine-disrupting chemicals, such as BPA and phthalates, which interfere with the body's hormonal system. These chemicals can mimic or block hormones, leading to various health issues, and particularly infertility. The way it impacts infertility in men and women is that in men, it reduces the sperm quality. BPA can mimic estrogen, disrupting the hormonal balance necessary for sperm production. Microplastics can also disrupt the production of testosterone, a critical hormone for male reproductive health. Reduced testosterone levels can lead to lower libido, erectile dysfunction, and infertility. In females, it alters the menstrual cycle. Exposure to endocrine disruptors, like phthalates, has been linked to irregular menstrual cycles and ovulatory disorders. A study published in the Journal of Fertility and Sterility found that women with higher phthalate levels experienced more menstrual irregularities, which affected fertility long term. Microplastics can also, with their chemical exposures, impair the development of the quality of eggs. A study in reproductive toxicology indicated that exposure to BPA and phthalates in the female body can lead to decreased number of viable eggs and negatively affect embryo development. For pregnant women, microplastics have been found in the placenta, potentially affecting fetal development. And exposure to endocrine disruptors in a pregnant female can also cause critical periods of developmental issues for the fetus and epigenetic changes, affecting gene expression and potentially leading to reproductive issues in future generations. Microplastics can also cause a broader range of hormonal issues and health concerns. Let's start with the thyroid hormone. Endocrine disruptors can interfere with the thyroid hormone and its regulation, leading to hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. The thyroid gland is responsible for its role in metabolism, growth, and development, and disruption can have widespread health implications, particularly leading to having issues with your metabolism. Chemicals in microplastics can disrupt metabolic processes, leading to situations such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, and insulin resistance. A study in the obesity reviews found that exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals was associated with increased fat accumulation and metabolic dysfunction. Long-term exposure to endocrine disruptors has been linked to increased risk of hormonal-related cancers, such as breast, ovarian, and prostate. The Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism reported that these chemicals could promote the growth of hormonal-dependent cancer cells. By understanding the detailed health implications and impacts of microplastics and endocrine disruptors, particularly in fertility and hormonal health, we can better appreciate the urgency of addressing these pervasive issues. Now that we understand the dangers of microplastics and endocrine disruptors, let's discuss practical steps that we can take on a daily basis to reduce our exposure to these harmful toxins. While it's almost impossible to completely stay away from microplastics and endocrine disruptors, you can take baby steps every day to really help your health overall. One thing that you can do is filter your water. Use a high-quality water filter to remove microplastics and other contaminants. Reverse osmosis filters are highly effective. The problem is that they also strip the water of essential minerals. So if you're going to have a reverse osmosis filtration system, particularly in your house, then make sure that you're also getting the essential minerals that your body needs. Because remember, minerals are very important for your metabolic health and producing energy in general. So you can take trace minerals. There's those mineral packets that you can get at the grocery store or even on Amazon that work really great. Or you can drink fresh coconut juice, which is the best way to get in the electrolytes that your body needs. Another thing that you can do is you can opt for clothing made from natural fibers like cotton, wool, and linen instead of synthetic materials that are found in a lot of clothes such as polyester and nylon. Washing synthetic fabrics releases microplastics into wastewater, which can eventually enter the food chain and into your clothes and is really harmful for your health. When you're storing food and beverages, you want to make sure that you're storing them in glass, stainless steel, or BPA-free containers, which are now found all over the U.S. They're really easy to find. And you want to make sure when you're microwaving food that you're not doing it in plastic containers, as heat can cause chemicals to leach into the food. You want to choose to eat organic when possible, and you want to choose meats that are healthy to reduce your exposure to pesticides, which can contain endocrine disruptors. Organic farming practices reduce the use of synthetic chemicals, thereby lowering the risk of endocrine disruption. When choosing personal care products or skincare products, you want to read the labels carefully and choose products that are free from phthalates, parabens, and other harmful chemicals. Choose brands that prioritize clean ingredients. the environmental working group online, if you're unsure of a certain personal care product or skincare product or even pharmaceutical, will tell you the ingredients that are in the product that are healthy and clean versus the ones that are harmful. So it's a website that you can also utilize if you're unsure about something. And lastly, a simple thing that you can do is reduce your consumption of processed foods. Processed foods can be a source of microplastics and endocrine disruptors, which we all know. So you want to focus on whole, unprocessed foods, less sugar, less alcohol to minimize your exposure. And then beyond this, you want to take individual action. It's crucial to advocate for broader change. The more of us that are speaking up against microplastics in our environment, the more awareness that we bring to the situation, and the more impact we can make. Support policies and initiatives aimed at reducing plastic pollution and regulating harmful chemicals. For instance, the European Union strategy to reduce plastic waste aims to significantly decrease microplastic pollution by 2030. Educate yourself and others about the sources and risks of microplastics and endocrine disruptors. Share information on social media, host community workshops, and engage with local environmental groups. By raising awareness, you can help drive community-wide efforts to reduce exposure. Join support organizations working towards a cleaner environment. Participate in community cleanup events and encourage businesses to adopt sustainable practices. Remember, small steps that you take every day can lead to big impacts. By making informed choices and spreading awareness, you can protect your health and contribute to a healthier planet. Your voice matters, and together we can make a difference. Thank you for tuning in to this eye-opening episode of Beyond Symptoms. I'm your host, Dr. Shivani Amin, and I hope this discussion has empowered you to take control of your health by reducing your exposure to toxins and endocrine disruptors. If you found this episode to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you would share with a friend, someone who might find some sort of inspiration from this topic. And remember to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Bye.